to order. And could you please give your attention to this short video?
This meeting will be conducted as a Zoom webinar to allow for public participation and comments. The Contra Costa Transportation Authority does not condone hate speech in any form. We continually strive to make life better for all members of our community and create an atmosphere where everyone feels a sense of safety and belonging. We ask that anyone who wishes to speak does so with civility, respect, and kindness for others. Public speakers will have up to 3 minutes to speak. The chair will call upon public speakers at the appropriate time. Each public speaker is requested to state their name and organization, but providing such information is voluntary. Public speakers who wish to speak in person should submit a public speaker card to the clerk. Public speakers participating by Zoom who are wishing to speak should use the raise hand feature or dial *9 if participating via phone. Written public comments received in accordance with the teleconferencing special notice on the meeting agenda will be provided to the members. If authors of any written correspondence would like to speak during the meeting, they should raise their hand or submit a public speaker card. Thank you for participating in a meeting of the Contra Costa Transportation Authority.
Thank you. And Emily, may we have the roll call, please?
Commissioner Bernal for Commissioner Banales.
Here.
Commissioner G.
Here.
Commissioner Nowak.
Here.
Vice Chair Kelly, Vice Chair Arnrich.
Here.
Chair Kelly.
Here.
We do have a quorum. Thank you.
Great, thank you. So the first item on the agenda is public comment for any items not on the agenda. Do we have anyone here wishing to speak on public comment?
We have no public comment, written or virtual.
Okay, all right, thank you. So let's move on. And now we're moving to the consent calendar. Does anyone here wish to pull an item from consent? And does anyone from the public wish to speak on any item regarding the consent calendar?
We have no public comment, written or virtual.
Okay, so bringing it back to the committee here, do I have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion by Nowak, seconded by G. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Bernal.
Here. Oh, yes. Sorry. I am here and yes.
Commissioner G.
Yes.
Commissioner Nowak.
Yes.
Vice Chair Arnrich.
Yes.
Chair Kelly.
Yes.
Aye, motion passes unanimously.
Great. So now we come to our regular agenda items. And the first item today will be introduced by Lindy Johnson. It's an update on legislation. Lindy?
Good morning, Chair, Commissioners. I'm happy to introduce Mr. Mark Watts to provide us with a state legislative update. I will also flag we are asking you to take a support position on a state bill, which Mark will quickly review. Happy to provide any input or answer any questions.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for having me today. I've got a short report with some heavy-duty information in it, however. So first of all, just to place the time that the Capitol is at this in terms of deadlines, the middle of May 15th was when all bills that had appropriations effect had to either be passed or they are left behind for the year. So that suspense calendar deadline came and went, and May 29th was the day by which any bills had to pass their House of Origin. So we are now at that point in time where all bills that are in existence are in the second house and getting prepared to be heard in committees. At the same time, we have the budget starting to warm up at this point in time. June 15th is the deadline under the Constitution for the legislature to pass a budget to the governor. It's been somewhat customary the last couple of years that because of some of the complexities of financing and whether we had a surplus or a deficit, the legislature and the governor worked out a workload budget to meet the June 15th deadline, and that gave them an opportunity to come back during the summer recess with more definite modifications to the budget process to move forward for for that year. So that's what we expect to see this coming year. Probably the most viewed and most concerned issue that's extant out there is the Cap and Invest program. Last year at the end of summer, the leaders, newly elected leaders in both houses, were able to negotiate a brand new scheme for what they call Cap and Invest. They made some changes to the distribution of the auction proceeds that come out of Cap and Invest, and those were established in statute. Fast forward to early this year, and through April, the Air Resources Board decided to make some changes to the actual structure of the cap and trade emission credit auction process. Those changes, coupled with the changes in the statutes by the legislative leadership, resulted in an impact on transportation finance. Traditionally, we'd been seeing roughly about $4 billion a year in the cap and trade or cap and invest program. We expect it to be about that amount, but the change in the distribution of funding has threatened the tier that the transportation programs were listed in. So the major changes was the dedication to a new manufacturer's credit against their obligations, and that was worth about $2 billion according to the ARB estimates, leaving about $1 billion for high-speed rail and $1 billion for other programs, and zeroing out the amount of money available for TIRCP, which is the Transit and Intercity Rail Capital Program, and LC-TOP, which is the Low Carbon Transportation Operation Program. Those were heavily relied on by transit agencies and transportation agencies like CCTA. So there is a pretty strong pushback from transportation agencies to see if we can get to a position where we would at least qualify for some of the Cap and Invest program funding. That remains to be a battle that gets engaged, I believe, as the budget comes to a close and probably lingers over into the summer. There's a deadline that's important to the whole cap and trade thing for the ARB. In order to activate a climate credit on the electricity bills that go out to all the customers throughout the state in the fall, they had to enact their amendments last week with an effective date of September 1st in order to make the PUC deadlines in order to adopt that new climate credit. So at this point, things are moving in the direction that CARB and the PUC wanted, but we'll see if there's any modifications. There's several bills of note I wanted to highlight. First, the sponsored bill by the authority, SB 1408, did easily pass through the Senate finally, ultimately, and met the deadlines, and is pending assignment in the Assembly. I may have said that backwards. It passed the Senate and is now pending assignment in the Assembly. It looks to be in good shape. There's a second bill that I wanted to highlight, AB 2560. This bill would codify the CAPTI, or the Climate Action Plan, that the administration adopted several years ago. There is a lot of discussion surrounding it. The Self-Help Counties Coalition and CalCog are deeply in negotiations to make sure that that doesn't set back transportation planning and programming. Another bill that was brought to our attention recently is AB 1821 by Assemblymember Pacheco. This would modify the what do you call it? It's the time by which a local agency must respond to a Public Records Act. It's been based on actual days, and it's being moved to a 10-day deadline, but excluding business days. So it's business days only, so excluding weekends. I guess there had been a concern amongst a lot of cities and counties and special districts that the 10-day working day was not working day, the 10-day full time would require in many instances we work on weekends and overtime costs, very costly to do that. This bill simply tries to change that so the weekends wouldn't count. It moved through pretty readily. It's being strongly opposed by newspaper organizations and privacy groups, but I think it looks like it's going to pass at this point in time, in my view. And that would be the conclusion of my presentation today, and I'm happy to answer the questions.
Thank you, Mark. Are there any questions here from the committee?
You ended on a positive note, though. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Lindy?
Thank you.
Thank you. So staff is seeking a
Yes.
support position on this bill that Mr. Watts just talked about, AB 1821. There's also some analysis in your packet on that bill. And I do have to thank our clerk for bringing this to our attention. She made a very good case for why this could be very helpful for CCTA as we continue to receive more and more PRA requests.
Got it, got it. So would someone like to make a motion?
I would move that, and just so you know, all of us cities, we've all supported this because we have tech companies that want every email as far back as we could find because they harvest those for their platforms and things, and it's devastating. So yes, I'd move this item as a support recommendation for the bill.
Okay, is there a second?
Yeah, I'll second.
Oh, okay, so motion by Arnrich, seconded by Bernal. Any discussion? No. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Can I ask for public comment first?
Oh, yes. Is there any public comment on AB 1821?
There are no public comments written or virtual.
Thank you. Then a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Alt-Bernal,
Yes.
Commissioner G,
Yes.
Commissioner Nowak,
Yes?
Vice Chair Arnrich,
Yes.
Chair Kelly.
Yes.
All right, motion passes unanimously.
Okay, great. Thank you. So Lindy, we go on?
Yep, thank you so much, appreciate it. I'm now happy to introduce Madeline Pike from Ty Ginsburg and Associates. Ms. Pike will provide us with a federal legislative update. Thank you.
Thanks, Lindy. Hi, everyone. This has been a kind of crazy couple weeks in Congress. The transportation reauthorization bill that I think you've heard me say a couple times no one expected would come to fruition actually did on the House side, at least out of a committee, which I will go into a little bit. And then I'll also talk about the appropriations process for fiscal year 27 and where we are with transportation funding there. So the week before Memorial Day weekend, the Transportation Committee in the House of Representatives dropped a over 1,000-page bill that is a bipartisan transportation and infrastructure reauthorization bill. So that is basically the bill that would reauthorize all of the highway transit freight programs that were authorized and funded in the IIJA, the most recent infrastructure bill. It was kind of surprising because it came together pretty last minute, and it's a bipartisan bill, and it actually has pretty decent funding numbers, all things considered. I think in this political climate, we were expecting somewhat of a lower dollar amount bill, but there is roughly $580 billion that are authorized over 5 years. So it's another 5-year authorization like the IIJA. I'd say that the biggest difference is that this does not include advanced appropriations. So what the IIJA did was include funding that was already appropriated for 5 years for certain transit programs and other discretionary grant programs. This does not have that. So there's about $475 billion that is authorized out of the Highway Trust Fund. So that should be guaranteed to go towards the programs that the money is intended for. the rest of the funding is subject to the annual appropriations process. So each year we'll have to, fight for some of those programs like the Mega Grant Program and Build and some of these other ones. That will be subject to the Appropriations Committee each year. So this is kind of a back to the basic infrastructure or traditional infrastructure, I guess I'll say, roads, bridges, transit systems. Excuse me. There is a significant increase in funding for bridges. It's a set aside from the Highway Trust Fund. So that is that will be beneficial to CCTA. There are a couple things that ended up in the bill that are going to be somewhat controversial, actually very controversial, going through to the full House. This was passed out of committee by a very, very bipartisan vote. I think it was only 2 members voted against the bill. But it would need to be considered by the full House of Representatives, and then the Senate would need to also take up their own bill, and that would have to pass. And then both sides of the Capitol would need to come together and negotiate the differences. So just a couple of the things that are a little tricky. Oh, and I just wanted to also mention that within the bill, there is the first section on autonomous commercial vehicles. So the legislation creates a performance-based safety ADS standard for commercial vehicles. DOT is directed to come up with that within 2 years of enactment of the bill. So that's kind of exciting because that has not made its way through any major piece of legislation. Going to the somewhat controversial aspects of the bill, there is a new electric vehicle registration fee and a new hybrid vehicle registration fee. So the electric vehicle registration would be $130 and a hybrid, I think $35, excuse me. And that is something that some of the top Democratic senators have said is a non-starter in the Senate. This is the first time that in, I think, 30 years or so that a transportation bill has tried to tackle the growing insolvency of the Highway Trust Fund. But this wouldn't have that significant of an impact moving forward. The other thing that was kind of controversial was there is a rail safety bill that was dropped into the bill as an amendment during the markup. This is something maybe, this might be too inside the beltway, but because the president got involved, maybe you heard about this, but the president at the last minute decided that a rail safety bill that has been pretty controversial on the Senate side should be included in the overall transportation reauthorization. This is something that has been pretty sticky for a while. Current Vice President Vance, when he was in the Senate, he offered this bill in the wake of the East Palestine derailment. And so this never really gained much traction, but I think it was like the night before the markup, the president came out with a statement saying that it was a big priority for him. So it ended up getting included in the legislation. I think that this is going to be a hard thing for some members to get behind. It mandates some things like 2-man crew. So you'd have to have two people in the you'd have to have 2 people in the cab of a train, also some wayside detector, so the little markings on the sides of the rail track. This is something that has not been supported by the rail industry at all. So again, this might be an issue moving forward. I will also just say that the committee with jurisdiction over taxing and the financing of this bill, the House Ways and Means Committee, has not done anything yet. They are reluctant to mark up their section of the legislation, especially in light of the not just the president, but several other voices talking about this gas tax holiday. And so if that would probably be raised in a markup that might be raised on the House floor. A lot of folks don't necessarily understand what the gas tax actually does. So a gas tax holiday sounds really good to some people. So moving forward, I think it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, we're in crunch time right now. There's only, I think, 35 or so legislative days until the November elections. So I think that the prospects of this moving are pretty low, but we'll see what happens. The Senate, they're under a little bit more pressure now just because the House has made its move, at least within a committee. But the Senate usually likes to write its own legislation. So we'll see how this progresses. The other thing that I would just say is, so actually today, the House Appropriations Committee marked up its legislation for the Transportation, Housing, and Urban Development Spending Bill. This included a earmark or a community CPF community project for that CCTA worked with. Lindy, maybe you can correct me, but it was the San Pablo Dam Road Interchange project. And Congressman Garamendi was able to include $1.8 million for that in the report for that bill. I will just say that the markup this morning was really contentious. It did pass out of the committee, but there was an amendment offered that would ban any funding or it would prevent any funding in the transportation bill to go towards sanctuary cities. So that is just going to be a non-starter once it potentially goes to the House floor. So we'll be watching that. The House spending bills generally are significantly less than the Senate bills. And so we'll just continue to monitor that. I think those are the big things. And I'm happy to answer any questions. I know that's a lot, and I didn't go into all of the weeds of the transportation bill, but it's 1,000 pages, so it's kind of long.
Thank you, Maddie, for keeping track of all of that. I know it's just really, really detailed. Any questions here from the committee? Sue?
I don't really have a question. I just wanted to make a statement. MTC was there while the markup was going on, and we were able to get a couple of, one amendment on ADAPT assets, so getting addition to the IIJ to help with funding for some specific transportation projects that also incorporate resilience, like Route 37. And Garamendi introduced that, and Latifah Simon supported that as well. So that was sort of good news while we were there.
Okay. Any other questions or comments here? No? Any public's comment on this item?
We have no public comment, written or virtual.
Okay. Maddie, thank you very, very much. Always appreciate your input.
Thank you. Have a good one, everyone.
Okay. So now we move on to our next item, which will be presented by Yuli Zheng to discuss the fiscal year 26-27 proposed budget. Welcome, Yuli.
Good morning, Chair and Commissioners. I'm Yuli Cheng, Finance Manager for CCTA. And this morning, I'll be presenting the proposed fiscal year 26-27 budget. I'll walk through the overall budget summary, major revenue sources, capital operating, capital projects, operating expenditures, staffing updates, and the required AB 2561 and Senate Bill 707 reporting items. Overall, this year's budget continued to reflect the authority's commitment to maintaining strong financial stability while continuing to invest in transportation improvements and programs throughout Contra Costa County. This budget was truly a team effort. I'd like to thank our department heads and their teams for working closely with finance and for providing the project schedules, program allocations, operational details that help us put this budget together. I'll do my best to answer any questions you may have, and for any project or program-specific questions, our department heads are here and can provide additional details. Before getting into the numbers, I wanted to start with the high-level overview of what's driving this year's budget. The fiscal year 26-27 continues many of the authority's major transportation investments, particularly in capital improvements projects, local programs, and countywide transportation planning efforts. Compared to last year, we continue to see solid sales tax performance and significant investment in both programs and capital improvements throughout the county. The budget also reflects continued grant activity, regional partnerships, and investments in planning and congestion management efforts. Looking at the overall budget summary, total revenues for fiscal year 26-27 are projected at approximately $265.3 million, while total expenditures are projected at approximately $260.4 million. By the end of the fiscal year, we project a funding balance of approximately $45.1 million, which is about $4.9 million higher than where we started. This increase is mainly due to projected surplus cash flow in the FER fund as we continue to optimize the available LPP fund exchange opportunities with our local agency partners. Overall, the authority remains in a positive strong financial position and continues to maintain a balanced budget while supporting countywide transportation priorities. One thing I'd also note is that many of our capital projects are multi-year projects, so expenditures and revenues may fluctuate from year to year, depending on project timing and construction schedules. This slide provides a breakdown of the authority's major revenue sources. Sales tax revenues continues to be the authority's largest fund sources at approximately $123 million. Federal, state, and local revenues projected at approximately $71.5 million included a variety of grant and funding sources. Non-Measure J funding contribute another $64.9 million. Investment earnings and other income are projected at approximately $5.9 million. One of the authority's strengths continue to be our ability to leverage multiple funding sources to support transportation investments throughout the county. By combining Measure J revenues with outside grant funding and regional partnerships, we are able to deliver significantly more transportation improvements than local funding alone would allow. So staff continues to actively pursue grant opportunities while coordinate closely with regional and local partners. This slide shows the projected sales tax revenues. Sales tax revenues remain relatively steady despite ongoing economic uncertainties. While we are continuing to monitor broader economic conditions closely, including inflation and changes in consumer spending trends. The current forecast and remains positive and support the proposed budget. As always, staff will continue to monitoring revenue trends and will provide updates to the board throughout the fiscal year if there are any significant changes. Okay, this slide highlights the major grant and reimbursement funding sources included in the budget. For planning and CMA activities, we are anticipating approximately 1.2 million in federal SDP funding, also 1.6 million in state SB1 funding for the countywide emergency evacuation study. And in programs, transportation for clean air, approximately 5.7 million this year, Go-Mandem station revenues, and for contribution from projects such as the SR4 bypass. As a reminder, reimbursements for capital projects are timing dependent, sorry. What I was going to say, sorry. So the authority typically pays project expenditures upfront, and we receive reimbursements approximately 60 days later. So timing differences between expenditures and revenues are very normal for a budget of this size and complexity. Moving into major capital projects, the fiscal year 26-27 budget include approximately 51.4 million in Measure J capital project funding. These projects are supported through a combination of Measure J allocations and federal, state, regional, and local funding sources. Some of the larger projects continue to move through environmental, design, and construction phases, so timeline may shift depending on project delivery schedule. The budget also includes many of these projects will remain open over multiple years to allow construction completion and final closeout activities. As you can see on the file, on the slide, we continue to bring in federal, state, regional, and local funding that help to stretch our resources further and maximize transportation investments across the county. This slide summarizes the total project expenditures. Capital improvement projects for Measure J total approximately 57.7 million and represents about 22% of the total 260.4 million. That's a significant investment in transportation infrastructure throughout the county. Project expenditures can vary considerably from year to year, depending on where projects are in the development and construction process. So while projects may fluctuate annually, many of these projects are part of long-term, multi-year transportation investment. Programs continue to be the authority's largest expenditures category at approximately 78.7 million. These funds support Measure J programs category, such as bus services, transportation for livable community or TLC, pedestrian bike improvements, paratransit, commute alternatives, and ferry service. The budget also includes approximately 24.7 million for local and sub-regional street maintenance. We are seeing decreases in some of the TLC and pedestrian bike improvements, mainly due to completion of projects such as the Iron Horse pedestrian overcrossing and Lafayette Town Center pathway improvements. At the same time, we also see increases in paratransit programs and Transportation for Clean Air TFC due to some additional program for bike and facilities project this year. Go-Momentum Station revenue remains consistent at approximately 500,000 and is matched with anticipated revenue. Planning and CMA expenditures approximately at 6.6 million. The largest increase reflect the funding for countywide emergency evacuation study and San Pablo Avenue multimodal phase 3. The budget also includes funding for CMA support and countywide transportation plan update, as well as big data subscription program. Administration expense approximately at 4.1 million and include operational office operation, software licensing, legal services, staff development, and public engagement support. Including in the budget is approximately 1.1 million in salaries and benefits for the administrative portion, and it represents approximately 90.5% of the 1% Measure J limitation. Our debt service expenditures projected at approximately 42.9 million, including principal and interest payments. Authority salaries and benefits projected at approximately 8.9 million. The increase mainly reflect the approved 3% CPI adjustments, annual retirement contributions, and increased OPEB contributions. The authority currently has 27 full-time authorized positions, along with 4 intern positions fully funded by our various transportation projects and programs. These intern positions will provide valuable support to staff while also helping develop future transportation professionals. The authority also continues to maintain relatively low pension liability and fully funded OPEB obligations, which helps support our long-term financial stability. The next 3 pages address the Assembly Bill 2561 and Senate Bill 707 reporting requirements. Since these disclosures are required by state law and include specific information elements and reporting elements, I would read this portion of the presentation to ensure that required information is communicated accurately and that nothing is inadvertently omitted. So under Assembly Bill 2561, pursuant to Government Code Section 3502.3a, CCTA is required to present the status of vacancies and recruitment and retention efforts during an authority board public hearing at least once per fiscal year before adoption of the final budget. In fiscal year 25-26, CCTA has completed 2 recruitments and hired the program's manager and director programs. One of CCTA's 27 approved position remains unfilled, which is a 3% vacancy rate. Recruitment efforts are underway and started in May to fill the vacant position of a senior transportation planner. Staff have identified and implemented steps to increase outreach efforts to attract diverse applicants from underserved communities and to remove potential bias in the application screening process. Staff have not identified any obstacles in the hiring process that would require changes to policies and procedures. CCTA strives to be an employer of choice and continues to encourage professional development, succession planning, training, and growth opportunities for staff, provides competitive salary and benefits through performing a 3-year total compensation study, and encourages a work-life balance through a flexible work site. In fiscal year 25-26, as part of these efforts, 2 employees were promoted Emily Owen was promoted on July 1st, 2025 from administrative assistant to administrative analyst, and Matt Kelly was promoted from a principal transportation planner to director planning on November 19, 2025. Senate Bill 707 requires that pursuant to Government Code Section 54953C3, the following salaries are required to be reported publicly on an annual basis. The salaries are effective July 1st, 2026, and take into consideration the 3% Consumer Price Index approved by the Authority Board on May 20th, 2026. The Executive Director's salary was effective December 27, 2025, and does not take into consideration a CPI increase. So the Executive Directors for $409,625.93, Deputy Executive Director Planning, Programs, and Policy at $330,338.37, Chief Financial Officers at $325,479.88, and Deputy Executive Director, Projects and Operations at $299.65.75. So in closing, staff recommends approval of Resolution 26-18-A, adopting the fiscal year 26-27 budget. The proposed budget includes approximately $260.4 million in appropriation funding necessary to support the authority's operations, including transportation projects, programs, congestion management, planning, administration, and debt service obligations for the upcoming fiscal year. Thank you, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Luli. That was very comprehensive. So any questions here? Noel?
Yeah, thank you. It's great. It's always, you know, I'm impressed that you could condense this down so succinctly, because it's probably the most complicated budgeting system that any of us, it's probably as complicated as taking all 19 cities and trying to say, here's one budget. So well done on that. I had a couple of questions on sales tax revenue, the 123 million, that's exactly a 2.5% increase over last year. Is that the number that we're publishing less, or that has already taken into account the set-aside that we do? So is this our guaranteed funding, or is this purely just estimated?
So we are using, I think you're all aware that we have HCL as our sales tax consultants.
Right.
And they always keeping us updated every quarter.
I think you're,
Yeah,
is your
you
microphone
speak
on?
closer, yeah.
Sorry. So as you're aware, we have HCL as our consultant for sales tax projections. So we are always basing on their projection. Based on what they provide us, we feel that 123 million is the safe
So
estimate.
so my question was not that.
It's
The
an
question is we used to budget whatever we got, so we now guarantee, we hold back and put it in our reserve account. So what I'm asking is, what number does the 123 represent?
It's the full amount.
This
Full amount, okay,
projected fulfillment, yes.
all right. And,
We're hoping to maybe have a little extra, like a little over that for the actual, but we never know at this kind of economic
this
right
is
now
great.
with the global events and everything. So we just try to be safe.
yeah, I just didn't want to mislead, because there's certain people who are listening who get money off of this based on a percentage, and I want them to know that this is the gross number, not the net number that will be available for distribution.
No, if I can just, so that's a projected revenue, but it's not projected expenditures. Projected expenditures are lower than projected revenue, so there will be a difference
But not,
there.
yeah, not expenditures. Remember what we did? We reset. We used to do these true-ups in the end of the year, any money left over. We don't do that, so we will list a number, tell all of our recipients, this is the guaranteed number.
Correct.
And it's several percent less than what we're anticipating. That's all they get. And then that other money goes into our reserve fund. So I just wanted to identify which one we're doing, because they're two different numbers, and so that people know which one they can rely on.
Yeah, just to clarify, so the 123 million is basically the projected total amount for sales tax. And so I think what Commissioner Armitage is mentioning is basically the 2022 Measure J reserve policy. So what happens is, you know, if the actual sales tax goes above 123 million, then that's that true up, basically reserve. So that's the money that would go into this reserve policy in 22. For part of our policy that we passed in FY '22. So for particularly what will happen, and this will happen in July, is this 123 million is the basis in which we allocate funds on the program side. So
That's what I wanted to know.
yeah, so everyone is going to be allocated funds. So when you work through the transportation expenditure plan, it's like 5%, 3% for this program, 5% for this program.
That's the
All of those numbers are based on that $123 million number.
Thank you for that clarification. Good. And the last question I had, it's a small one, and this agency has done a really good job, great leadership on the board on our PEPRA and pension liability. What is the pension liability at this point?
You mean the total pension?
Just on
liability?
pension liability, what is the current shortfall that we have?
Well,
Where are
based
we
on,
under?
because we don't get the actual report until a lot later, but what we have right now, I think it's in the range of, if I'm not mistaken, I think it'll be like 100 or in that range, 100,000, I think. I have to
On
look.
pension?
Liabilities, you said.
Oh, that was on our OPEB.
OPEB, but the
OPEB.
pension
Oh,
liability.
OPEB is always fully funded. We're still in a good
No,
position.
I understand.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Here's my question. On our pension liability, we were $1 million, I don't know, almost $2 million below, which is not bad. And we were waiting for our update and stuff. It's not 100,000. And we overfunded OPEB, and because it performed better, it's overfunded. So the question is what are we estimating we're at on pension liability?
I don't have that answer right now, but I can take a look and get back to
Okay,
you on
I
that.
think that's
Sorry.
important that we,
Yes.
because it's required by law for us to state it. So if we're not putting it in the budget, then it's got to be somewhere listed in order to meet all the Gatsby requirements. And I just want to make sure our agency, we keep listing it. We have an event horizon in 2034. It has to be 100% fully funded, all categories, no matter what, because we can't carry over liability as we renew this measure. We're not supposed to carry over those liabilities. We have to be fully funded because each measure has to, because it's like a business. We opened a business, we closed a business. So we want to make sure we're in that position, so.
And Newell, I'd like to know what the percentage is. You know, are we 70% funded, 80%, 95% funded?
We're probably 98.
If we're 98, I mean, that
would
would be
say,
pretty
yeah.
darn good. It would be nice to know it in percentage terms, too.
Okay.
Thank
But
you.
as we allocate monies,
Yeah.
I want to make sure that we are putting away those monies. Other agencies have different luxuries. Because they're in perpetuity.
Right.
We're not, so, anyway. But thank you.
We'll get those numbers to you and we'll make sure that we have it ready for the board.
Yes.
That'd be great. Any other questions or comments here? No, any comments from the public here or online?
We have no public comments, written or virtual.
Okay, so we do have, we'll bring it back here. We do have a resolution in front of us. Would someone like to make a
I
motion?
would move resolution number 26-18-A as presented today.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, so a motion by Arner, seconded by G. Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Bernal,
Yes.
Commissioner G,
Yes.
Vice Chair Arnrich,
Yes.
Chair Kelly.
Yes.
All right, motion passes unanimously.
Great.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Yuli, as always. Appreciate it. So our next item will be presented by Hisham Noemi to discuss the I-80 San Pablo Dam Road Interchange Project.
I was just going to announce, unfortunately, I have a statewide committee
know.
that I have to chair at 9:30. I got to walk out of here at 8:25, so my apologies. 9:25. I have
9:25, I understand.
6 or 7 minutes, but thank you.
Okay, we understand. Thank you. Welcome, Hisham.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, everyone. I'm pleased to present this item. We are asking you to take a couple of actions to help us hopefully unlock about $114 million in SB1 funding for the second phase of San Pablo Dam Road. This interchange is more than a local bottleneck. It's a regional choke point, and it's a critical safety project for the region. The current overcrossing, as you know, have substandard vertical clearance. It lacks shoulders on the bridge itself and under the freeway, and that had contributed to a higher collision rate than the statewide average. Phase 2 will finally fix that by replacing the old bridge with 6 lanes that meets current modern standards, as well as removes the bridge supports that block the freeway shoulders. You all know I-80 is a major trade corridor connecting the Port of Oakland to the rest of the country, so improving this interchange will also improve reliability of the freight system and also reduce the cut-through traffic to our local network. And for those who bike or walk, this is a game changer because it will replace the inadequate facilities we have with wide sidewalks and bike lanes. So with that, as you all know, we started this project a long time ago at the request of the city of San Pablo. Right now, we had to split it into 2 phases because of the cost and the available funding. Phase 1 was complete in 2018, and Phase 2, we're currently in the design phase and the right-of-way clearance phase, and that should be completed by June of 2027. If we have funding for construction, we could start construction in 2028. And this slide just shows what we completed in Phase 1, that's the green part, and what we will complete in Phase 2, that's the orange part, which is really the meat of the project. And I'm gonna skip over these slides given the time constraint we have. These are just some photos from the project area. This is actual photos of accidents, unfortunately, at the interchange. Since we started the design, there has been, in June 2023, there has been more than 600 accidents at the project site, and 5 more people lost their lives. So this project just cannot wait. Skipping those 2 slides, the interchange itself, Phase 2 will replace the interchange itself with what you see here. There will be 6 lanes, sidewalks, Class 4 bike lane. And because of the proximity of McBride Avenue off-ramp to the on-ramp at San Pablo Dam Road, we are basically closing that off-ramp at McBride and creating a one-way roadway to McBride Avenue to provide those people direct access to the off-ramp. That solves the weaving problem on I-80 and helps improve operations. And you will see the signage will be updated to ensure those people exit at San Pablo Dam Road to get to McBride Avenue. There is an animation video on our website that you can look at when you have time. This is the proposed layout at San Pablo Dam Road. And as I mentioned, will be done with the design and the right-of-way phases by June of 2027. So let's get to what we're asking you to do today. The project cost is now $160 million. We have been successful in securing $26 million to complete the design and the right-of-way using a bunch of state money and local funds. Now we need to talk about how we're gonna fund the construction phase, which is significant, $134.5 million. So as you heard me, we are planning to apply for $114 million in SB1 funds between the Trade Corridor Program and the Local Partnership Program. We need to provide $20 million in matching funds to qualify to apply. And that's why we are here today. I'm pleased to say that WICTAC recognized the importance of this project, and they just approved in May, at their May meeting, $3.7 million almost in matching funds from the STMP program, the Sub-Regional Transportation Management Program. And the city is contributing about $0.3 million to the project. So we have about 4.2 million at this point, including the Measure J savings we're anticipating. We need 15.8 million to come up with. So what we are proposing is an exchange agreement with the Contra Costa County for the Pacheco Boulevard widening project, where they will give us basically the Measure J money, about $8.3 million for this project. In return, the board will be committing to program 9.13 million, the 8.3 plus 10%, to compensate them for the change in the fund source, which is the fund source, the STIP is a little bit more complicated. So that's agreement 761. The other agreement, the other action we're asking you is to redirect the STIP money that we have programmed for the Highway 4 operationals phase 1 in the eastbound direction. We had programmed it for the design phase a long time ago, many years ago. Unfortunately, because of the VMT required analysis, we put that project on hold for a while, and now we just restarted the environmental document. So that money would have been pushed out anyway, and we don't have construction money for that important but expensive project. So we're proposing to redirect the money to the San Pablo Dam Road interchange. In return, that project will be held harmless. The project, you will be committing basically $8.25 million to do the design in the next STIP cycle, which you will get to program in October of 2027, after we've known whether we got the SB1 or not. So these are the actions we're asking you today. The benefits of doing this, you are not delaying any projects with this. We're basically aligning the funding we have with the readiness of the 3 projects I mentioned. If we're successful, this is a win-win for the county. $114 million is a lot of money. It's almost as much Measure J revenue we get in a year. So it also will help improve this important interchange, which is much needed, as I mentioned. This is just a depiction of what we are asking you to do. The 2 projects, the contributing projects, Pacheco Boulevard and the Highway 4 East, will be basically giving us their money. That's for $15.8 million. So we can apply for the I-80 San Pablo Dam Road. In return, we're committing to hold them harmless and giving them a 10% increase on the amount they contributed, just to, in case for the Pacheco Boulevard, because of the fund source we're replacing is a little bit more complicated, so that will compensate them for that. For the Highway 4, we need more than $7.5 million to design the project, so this will help fully fund the design. And this is just to explain that where the funds is right now located and how we're going to switch it. So the 8.3 million, as you can see by the blue underline, is in our strategic plan. That will be going to San Pablo Dam Road, and the STIP money is programmed in fiscal year 28-29 for the Highway 4 ops, which will go to San Pablo Dam Road. In return, both projects will get 2028 STIP funds to keep them moving. So with that, I'm asking you to approve Agreement 761 as well as Resolution 2620P to finalize these exchanges and hopefully help us secure the $114 million in SB1 funding. If in the unfortunate case we're not successful, then the exchange agreement with the county terminates and nothing happens. Basically, they'll still get their Measure J. Hopefully that's not the case after all this work. But on another note, the county will be taking action on this item on June 23rd, and they have been very supportive. This is a very important project to them as well, because it's a gateway to El Sobrante, which is unincorporated part of the county. And also I want to add at the end that we have completed our CAPTI process with Caltrans, Climate Action I forget the acronym, Climate Action something. It's a one-year process. We started that in July of last year, and we just got our score for the project, and it scored really well compared to the other projects they looked at. So this project meets a lot of the criteria required, so I'm really optimistic that we will be successful. So with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Hisham, and I know you've worked a long time on this project. It's really, really important. I just want to make a note that WICTAC approved at its May meeting to give the 3.6 million, even though other cities would not be receiving any money at the time. The entire WICTAC board thought that this was a worthwhile sub-regional project. So any questions here from commissioners? Yeah, Darlene?
Thank you, Hisham. I just really have to congratulate staff on, how much effort has gone into the thoughtfulness and creativity of, figuring out how to do this. And I hope we're successful. My key question is, I would assume that the odds of success are fairly high given the state importance of I-80, but I'm curious as to what the process is of getting the grant approval from SB1, and is there a political component, and are there other things that are needed to make sure that we hopefully are successful?
Yes, MTC actually will be also doing an endorsement list of projects at their June meeting, at their June or August meeting. Actually, at their August meeting, the deadline to submit the stuff is in June. So we are submitting this project, so their endorsement is important for the TSIP portion of the funding. So that's happening. We have been meeting with CTC staff to make them aware of the project. Of course, talking to the CTC commissioners cannot hurt. CTC has invested $19.7 million to help us get to where we are now. So they have strong interest in making sure that their investment pays off at the end. So I think, just to answer your question, we will be continuing our discussion with CTC staff. The applications are not due until November, so we have time to meet with them and also talk to the CTC commissioners representing the Bay Area.
Yeah, there's definitely groundwork to be laid, to make sure that we can secure the success, as we've done in the past with other grants. So I think, I know I have personally met with Senator Arreguín. He's been completely briefed on this project, and he's very highly supportive of it. And so I think that's also an important component of this is the CTC commissioners, but also making sure that the delegation is carrying the support as well, and making those connections to the CTC commissioners.
So I assume if the commissioners on the CCTA board can be helpful, you will let us know that.
Yes, that would be really, really important. Yeah. Any other questions or comments? Do we have any public comment on this item?
No public comment nor virtual.
Okay, so bring it back here. We have a resolution before us. Do I hear a motion?
I'll move that we approve this resolution.
Yeah, 26-20-P.
Yes, 26-20-P.
As an approved agreement 761 and resolution 2620-P.
Yes, I move all of that.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, so motion by G, second by Bernal. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Bernal?
Yes.
Commissioner G?
Yes.
Chair Kelly?
Yes.
All right, motion passes by a majority with Commissioner Nowak and Vice Chair Arnrich absent.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, they had to leave, they had other obligations. Thank you, Hisham. So the next item is Andy Dillard is going to discuss the countywide smart signals project. Welcome back, Andy.
Thank you. Good morning, Chair Kelly and committee members. Andy Dillard, Senior Engineer. So this morning, we're asking your approval of authorization for procurement of equipment and software for the countywide Smart Signals project. I'll just go through briefly background. I know you're well familiar with the project, but just give you some highlights and overall scope of the project. So this will upgrade and modernize 365 traffic signals throughout Contra Costa County. It includes traffic controller upgrades, cabinets, video detection systems, communications, battery backup systems, and emergency vehicle preemption hardware, as well as cloud-based, what we call ATMS, or Advanced Traffic Management System software for the local agencies, as well as our regional here, center-to-center, countywide ATMS and a traffic management center. Lots of benefits with this project, obviously, including, primarily the video detection systems, which is going to allow that real-time tracking of traffic. It's going to provide advanced analytics for our traffic engineers to monitor the traffic and better react to real-time conditions. All this is going to improve traffic safety. It's going to provide real data-driven decision-making. So it's going to provide really valuable tools for our local agencies. And of course, importantly, improve safety, travel times, and idling times. So this is a look. I know you've seen this before, but this is the number of intersections by agency. And you can see that here, this totals 365 intersections. So initially, when this project started, it was 329, and now it's up to 365. Just want a couple mentions and shout outs to our to Lindy and Mike and and their team for putting together a really great web page of this project. I know there's a toolkit that's been released that you can disseminate to the public, but there's a really nice website or web page here, web map, where you can drill down and really see all the details of the locations of the project, and then also it'll provide status updates as we move through the project, so the public and our partners can all keep track of progress on the project. Again, seen this before, this is all the different elements of the project: video detection systems, video analytics, and then also there are some cities that are getting upgrades to pedestrian push buttons. So up in the right-hand corner there, these are advanced pedestrian push buttons that are ADA accessible that are also part of the project. Again, this is from our website. This is a really great interactive tool, so folks can go on and learn more about all the different technical elements of the project, all that I just mentioned. So this is a really nice intuitive tool too that's included on that web page. So in total, this is a $30.8 million project, of which $27.3 million is for construction. That includes all the equipment and software, and of course the construction services and construction management. So the item for you this morning is authorization of procurement of the equipment. So this is a pretty extensive list here, but to minimize the construction costs of the project, all the hardware and software will be procured by CCTA. It'll be furnished to or provided to the contractor's agency furnished materials. While the E76 is in process, we're recommending that we proceed with initiation of procurement of this equipment and software. And this particular list here has been identified with a little bit longer lead time, so we want to get a jump on getting this equipment in our possession, so we have it at the ready when the contractor is ready to begin work in order to minimize delays. So for this procurement authorization, as you can see here, there's 11 different vendors and suppliers totaling approximately $10 million, and all the mentioned equipment, the cabinets, controllers, video detection systems, communication systems, battery backup systems, and then some Opticom for emergency vehicle preemption hardware also is included. So this equipment and the vendors, it was all evaluated through a very extensive RFI process, or a request for information, very early on in the project. And then as we move through preliminary engineering and then final design, this has been constantly updated and refined to get the latest pricing to make sure that our pricing is in order and that all the equipment is readily available. There's been changes throughout the project development with specifications and so forth, because every city has their desire for the equipment that they need in order to match what they have out in the field already. A lot of effort has gone into identifying all the equipment and the vendors here. The remaining equipment and software, it's all readily available, and that'll be part of the subsequent authorization with the award of contract with the contractor that will come before you. And we're expecting to begin procurement of all this hardware and software towards the end of June, and that will go concurrent with the award of contract with for the contract services. Again, this is going to be about a year project. We're hoping to start again in late summer, and it'll probably take about a year to complete the project. We have it pegged at 260 working days, or about 11 months. But we're hoping we can deliver a little quicker than that, but a lot of it too depends on this procurement process as well. So with that before you is consideration and approval resolution 26-24P, authorizing the executive director or designee to enter into agreements and execute purchase orders totaling an amount of $10,333,388 to procure the authority furnished equipment and software necessary to advance the construction phase of the project. This is contingent upon successful attainment of the E76, which we're expecting soon, and it will also authorize the executive director or designee to shift funds between these procurement allotment categories as long as the total expenditures do not exceed the total amount for the authority furnished equipment and software procurement allotment. So with that, happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Andy. Any questions here? No? I would only say, Andy, this is a very exciting project, and I hope, and this is kind of to Lindy too, when it's finally done, that we can let everybody know, the cities know, the public know that this has happened, even like maybe putting little stickers on signals and things like that, Smart Signals Project now activated, so that the public actually knows that we're doing something to help them and to improve safety. That would be great. So any public comment on this item?
No public comment, written or virtual.
Okay, so bringing it back here, we have a resolution before us. Do I hear a motion?
I'll move approval.
Okay, motion by Bernal,
I'll second it.
seconded by G. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Bernal,
Yes.
Commissioner G,
Yes.
Chair Kelly.
Yes?
All right, motion passes unanimously with Commissioner Nowak and Vice Chair Arnert absent.
Great, thank you, and thank you very much, Andy. Go purchase the equipment. I'm very excited about this one, yeah. Okay, so we're going to move on right now. The next item is correspondence and communications. I don't think we have any in the packet. Commissioner and staff comments. I have no comments. Do you have any comments here? No, move on. Are there any comments from our executive director?
Just a few. The Redefining Mobility Summit's shaping up. You're all getting emails from me on that, so really appreciate all your support and hope you all can be there and attend. The other thing I wanted to kind of just bring your attention, and I'll mention it at the board meeting as well, is we got invited to speak at the California Transportation Commission on June 25th to talk about autonomous vehicles and mainly what the possible can be through the new legislation, or I'm sorry, new regulations that were adopted by DMV in April. So in April, DMV adopted the heavy-duty commercial autonomous vehicle regulations. And just so you all know, CCTA led a public coalition to help provide a important modification to allow autonomous shuttles in public transit as part of the regulation, because as the regulations were drafted, it did not contemplate public transit at all. It was mainly focused on heavy-duty freight and not necessarily, because a bus is a heavy-duty vehicle. And so we were able to work closely with CalSTA, California State Transportation Agency, as well as DMV, and then I went and testified, and we were able to get this like really important modification to the regulations to allow us to continue to do the things that we're doing here at CCTA. And so we're being invited to speak to talk about what is the possible, like with this new regulations, what does scaling, AV in public transportation, what does that mean? And obviously we're a recognized leader in the state, in the space. So we're coming off of the heels of Aurora. So Aurora went to CTC in May to discuss heavy duty freight. And so we're being asked to come and talk about transit, AV and transit at the CTC meeting in June 25th. So excited to be part of that. And I think Ryan has an announcement as well.
Yeah, I just wanted to quickly introduce our intern, the first of several interns that we've got, Anselmo Rivera, who's over in the back. He comes to us through the Growth Sector program, which is, the Growth Sector has this internship program where they cover the costs for the intern, and we get to benefit from his enthusiasm and skills. He's currently studying civil engineering at Contra Costa College, so excited to have him here for 10 weeks this summer. He showed up with a broken arm, but he's impressively quick with typing with just one arm, so happy to have him here.
Great. Glad to have you join us for these 10 weeks. That's wonderful. Thank you. So any other comments? No? Okay, so we will adjourn this meeting now at 9:46, and our next meeting will be on July 9th. Thank you, everyone.